Are there motives to be called into question? Definitely. Is our news more focused on being entertaining than being factual? For sure.
Okay.
And so our news is a little corrupt and our news is a little fake. There's no denying that.
Who are the real victims of media? The news media has frequently been attacked for not properly addressing issues. They are accused of pushing the stories that draw viewers rather than the ones that need to be brought to attention. In the most recent election, the primary focus of the media was our current President, Donald J. Trump, notorious businessman and outspoken Republican. The president began to refer to journalists as fake news because of the way he felt victimized by their portrayal of him. However, even more recently, his attention has turned to how he feels the American public is being deceived by the media. At a rally in Phoenix, Trump expressed this by saying,
"The media can attack me, but where I draw the line is when they attack you, which is what they do. When they attack the decency of our supporters."
We went around St. Edward's campus to interview students and faculty.
My interpretation of that, as a citizen of the U.S., is that the news that he cites as being fake are normally the news sources and news media that do not align with his personal view.
Okay.
For him to like focus on that, I think it's pretty bad. Like, a lot of people are now just not looking at CNN at all and being like, well, it's just gonna be fake news. So that's definitely a problem.
Okay.
That he created.
What I think of fake news, first off, is yellow journalism. Most news that is created within the first few hours in hearing a certain type of an event. And the yellow journalism is basically when you go about finding something, you take it and you run with it.
Yes and no. Like mainstream media definitely supplies some fake news just because it's a business. Like, media is a business too, so
Okay.
But a lot of people are focusing on the fact that there is fake news rather than focusing on the real news. So I hope that it'll get better, but I honestly have no idea.
To be in the spotlight of the main news. So when people say it's corrupt, I don't believe it's corrupt. I personally believe that the news media is no longer functioning to its highest capabilities. It's not corrupt.
The news source that I lean on the most is the New York Times.
Use Google Scholar, and I just clicked on multiple articles.
My go-to is always The Guardian. It's never...
I think it's completely detrimental to the validity of what being American is about. I feel like for someone like Trump, who is, part of the conservative or the Republican Party, I feel like a huge part of that is following the Constitution, like what it is, and part of the Constitution is like freedom of speech. So, the way that he criticizes fake news in the sense of like calling it fake news instead of biased news is just, I feel like it contradicts what he traditionally should be standing for.
Because it's not the only reasons, but one big contributor to the reason why America is polarized is because you have two giant media sources that are polarized on opposite spectrums with different views and with different outlooks on the world.
Okay. So, what media sources that you use are objective?
Some of the founding principles of American democracy are freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and dissemination of unpopular opinions. We have seen an outpour of people using those same principles to defend themselves recently, yet the press is being persecuted for utilizing those same rights. With the president demeaning the media by calling it fake news, he is preventing the press from doing their job and invalidating their word. We are in the midst of a media revolution where every answer is a click away and there is always someone trying to disprove points that are made. The press is being challenged and is maybe even becoming more obsolete with the increasing prevalence of social media. So perhaps the true victims here are in fact media itself.
The news media is no longer functioning to its highest capabilities. It's not corrupt. It's just a broken system.
It was very opinionated.
Okay.
I kept looking for facts, but it was a big article, and so I think people were like, oh, it seems legit. And they reposted it or whatever.